I mentioned earlier about how Jiddu Krishnamurti made contact with me, to my utter surprise. And I sometimes it's called Krishna G and K. I usually just call him K. But it was a bit awe-inspiring for me at first, the whole notion of communicating with him. And that's where my trust was challenged, if you like. I had to take it on board. But at the same time, there was a real challenge in it too, in another way, in the sense of what the adventure of it and the benefit of it, and not alone from my point of view, but perhaps for others who might read it too. So eventually I did go through the collaboration with him, and I've published 2 books so far, one Living Without Fear and the other Amongst Equals. So one of the things, of course, that drew me very much to Kay, as I call him, was this, to my knowledge, the fact that I don't know of anybody else in that sort of category, or if you like, of worldwide teachers who, having been appointed as the head of an organisation, everything they'd done for him, and all that followed from that, who then decided to disband it because he didn't want to follow us. He said, the moment you follow someone, you cease to follow truth. And so the last thing that he wanted was to be seen as a guru then. That he felt that each one of us had to find our own way, our own truth, and to free ourselves from conditioning so that we could do that. And that whole message appealed to me very much, in the sense of, that it helped to empower us if we could follow that, because the more that we, give over our sense of our belief systems, etc., to others, the more that we get into that sort of rigidity, if you like, then it's more difficult for us to be true to ourselves. And when we think about it, of course, it's obvious, well, at least I think it's obvious, that each of us has to have our own truth, because how can I say what's truth for somebody else? I can't see into somebody else's mind. I can't know what's best for them. I can't know what way that they think. If I do, or if I try to do that, or to impose my way on them, to say that my way is the way to go, well then that could be interfering altogether with their whole sense of themselves and their whole lives. So the whole thing of truth then, it brings it down to, you see, we've been conditioned to absolutes, if you like, that there are such things as absolute truths. And the message with K is that you don't have those things. And that would be true also, the message that I would have been getting earlier from Shabaka and indeed from Margaret Anna too. That when we get into this thing of absolutes, we become caged, and we can never be truly ourselves. But truth then was it became for me um, a different thing in a way, you know, that it's just something that is as variable as people. But each one of us, if we have our own truth, then it is something that can never be tied down in an absolute way, because no two of us, we're not, just not the same. We're all different, our own different way of approach. We think in our own way, and if we allow somebody else to control the way that we think, then we become sort of robots and so on. And this, unfortunately, has been very often the way of the world, that people seem to want to give over their power in a way to somebody else to tell them what to do. And that can provide a sense of security maybe, but of course it's a false security, because eventually we're alone in our own way, like we come into the world and we alone in that sense, and we go out of it in the physical sense. We go out of it alone because nobody else can live our lives for us. And essentially, even when it comes to leaving this physical life, nobody can do it for us. We have to face it by ourselves, and we have to become face to face with ourselves. And if we're not, then if you like, just a mask, if you like, if we're caught into an inflexible rigidity of way of thinking, then we're stuck in that sort of mindset, and we're not ready to be open to the adventure of life. So, to be free then of all conditioning, that's so much a part of Kay's message, and that if we can pay attention to our conditioning, that then we become free of the past. By paying attention to the conditioning, meaning that we're aware of it, that we can see what's happening, that we can see the way that we're thinking and why we're thinking in a particular way, and perhaps that we can leave ourselves open to other ways of thinking and of being, and then being free of judgment, of course, which is so much a part of it all, not caught up into a sort of a judgmentalism that we have to take up a position on everything that we hear and so on. So we've gone into all that before, and I hope I'm not boring you with repeating stuff. Unfortunately, the way of things gets repeated, and as we get older, maybe we're more inclined to repeat ourselves. But I just wanted to bring it up again because it's so much the whole thing about truth and how important it is that in some way that we can get our own truth, feel what's true for ourselves, and that we can be open to other people giving their opinions and so on, but that we're not controlled by them. So this, I hope, isn't, I think it feels a bit rambly to me, but anyway, I leave it with you and hope that you'll find it of interest. So thanks very much indeed for listening to me again.